So we've had a question in from Chris about her fear. Now Chris is in a situation that's an absolute classic, which is wanting to move from one job to another, or even self-employment. And Chris has been in her role, it's a sales role, for about 12 years, and she's been in similar roles for 20 plus years. So it's not an easy thing to do to jump to something new. And as Chris puts it, she hasn't quite got the balls to do that jump. So some thoughts for you. Firstly, Chris, don't be too hard on yourself about when you make the jump. I like to think of it like an aircraft taking off. And the reality is, the more the plane builds up its speed, the more likely it is to achieve a successful flight. Pilots have a concept called V1, which is the sort of speed at which takeoff is possible and in fact shouldn't be aborted. And it's a bit like that with changing your career. So what I'd say is, in order to build up that terminal velocity on the flight path to something new, start thinking about all the things you should be doing to make that new thing more possible. So start thinking about expanding your network, get out there, talk to more people, take advice, build the contacts you need, maybe start doing a side hustle, start doing experiments. There's nothing quite like actually doing stuff compared to thinking about it in your head. You get the advantage of trying stuff out, you learn lessons about it, you meet people, you make valuable contacts, and you learn what you like and what you don't like and what you're good at and what you're not. So it's valuable feedback. So that's the first thing. Build up to that, that speed while you've got the chance and the security of the current thing. Secondly, just be careful with the way we tend as humans to catastrophize the future. There's something that goes on in the human mind where we tend to prize certainty over uncertainty. And the problem with the current role is, although you may dislike it, it's certain. So people often say that the greatest addiction known to mankind is not alcohol or drugs, it's the regular paycheck. And we can get ourselves in a situation where we prize the uncertainty of the pain of that regular thing over the joy of something that's more uncertain. When you think about it, that's a little bit crazy. But the way to counter that is to tell yourself and to realise that, just like thinking about your holiday or your vision of somewhere you're going to go, the reality is when you go there, or when you go to that and do that place, it's never quite how you imagined it. And that's the reality in these situations about your work. When I left my job, I felt that jumping to self-employment was going to be like jumping out of a plane in free fall. And what I realised when I did it was that vision wasn't true. There was no reality to that metaphor. I was still the same person, and I was still able and capable, and I just needed to commit to the new thing and to get on with it. In particular, we worry about things like the certainty of income. And the reality is, when we make these jumps, we tend to work with what we've got and make these things happen. And the issues that we think we've got and we catastrophize inside our own heads tend not to be the same in reality. In reality, the truth is everything is actually different. So things will happen, good and bad, but you will deal with those in your own way, in ways you didn't expect. So just give yourself the confidence to embrace that. And I think the core of this is that you have to get to a point where you have the confidence in yourself to back yourself, to walk out of that structural thing that's certain that you don't really want to be doing, and to embrace the joyful uncertainty of actually giving yourself the confidence and the possibility of actually creating something entirely anew. Believe me, most of us, when we do that, we really relish that further thing. And not only that, we build the confidence from taking those sort of jumps. What I would say in closing is that the thing that's surprised me more about doing fear work over time is that more people, when we get down to it, are actually scared at core of not all these things that we think, like death and uncertainty and losing their job. The thing that scares people more than anything else is the fear of not realising their own potential. And the underriding fear for most of us is that we will live our lives not having done the thing that we most want to do and that we could have done. And that is actually, when you drill down, most people's real fear. So just bear that in mind as well. And good luck. Just prepare yourself and build those steps. And when you're ready, take that jump back yourself.